So tell us a little bit about the spectrum of lending.
Yeah, so I was telling you earlier, when somebody comes to me with a loan request, you've got to break it down and understand what kind of category or where do they lie in the spectrum of lending. And on the one edge of the spectrum of lending, you have all the biggest name banks that are basically lending at the top of the scenarios, where you've had an A+ property, you've got A+ income, A+ credit, business long-standing, you get the best rates, best terms, and so on. That's at the very top. Oftentimes they're not coming to me for that per se, because they probably have existing relationships with their bankers, but once in a while there's something unique that doesn't fit, and usually it may not be at the top of that spectrum, but it'll be like maybe one notch down. And then you've got all levels of lending, from the most conventional of sorts to the most private and hard money of sorts.
Okay.
And I guess I can quickly go down the line. There's another level, let's say, off a few spectrums, is these alternative banks that are funded by hedge funds or Wall Street. They get $500 million, and they have certain guidelines that if you fit within these guidelines, they can give you terms that are a little bit better than private money. But they often lock you up with prepayment penalties, but they're not as good as conventional. But for certain circumstances, those work, but you're often boxed in, and so those don't work so often for me. Whereas not so hard money, for example, I consider them in the next spectrum.
Okay.
And they're really competitive with respect to their rates and terms. I love working with them. They're very flexible, and for me, I just like to be able to logically talk about the loan request and the plus, the minus, and I feel like that's important. Don't oversell it, but don't undersell it. Be able to explain the negatives along with the positives. And for example, I speak with Scott often, and I enjoy talking to him and going through these scenarios. But that's at, let's say, like 3/4 of the way through the spectrum, where they don't really qualify for conventional financing, but there's still some merit to their request, where they still deserve financing, but it's just at a different kind of rate and term, but still competitive and still flexible, which is why Not So Hard Money is such a great lender.
Well, I really appreciate all you shared with us. I'm sure you've answered a lot of questions out there. Continued success to you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you for being here.
Yes.
Have topics or questions you'd like covered on Let's Talk Commercial Real Estate? Or if you'd like to be a guest on Let's Talk Commercial Real Estate, please contact us.